All right, let's jump into the world of Samhub, specifically how they're changing the game for media companies. We're going to explore how they help these companies use all that data they have, that first-party data, to really succeed in this digital age. We've got a whole bunch of articles here about all sorts of add-ons and features. It's like building a custom toolkit, you know?
It's amazing how much data these companies are sitting on. Logged in users, browsing history, newsletters, it's like a gold mine. And Samhub gives them the tools to actually mine that gold, refine it, make it valuable.
Okay, so let's talk about one of the biggest problems they face. Proving their worth to advertisers, right? In a world where data is king, it's like old school media is always trying to catch up.
That's exactly what Samhub's campaign reports and analytics add-on is for. Think about the usual campaign reports, just numbers, impressions, clicks, not very exciting for advertisers who want more detailed info.
So how does Samhub change that? Everyone talks about data-driven, but what does it actually look like?
Imagine you're a media company, working with a brand targeting, say, eco-conscious consumers. Instead of just saying X number of people saw the ad, you use Samhub to tell a better story. You say, hey, this campaign reached a ton of readers who love sustainable living, and what's more, their average income is over $100,000.
Wow, that's a game changer. It's not just about eyeballs anymore. It's about the right audience, reaching people who really connect with those values.
Precisely. Samhub lets media companies turn those boring reports into stories that advertisers care about, showing their audiences real value. And it's not just broad demographics. There are two levels, professional and enterprise. They offer different depths of information.
Okay, break that down for me. What's the difference between those two?
Professional is a great starting point. It's all about anonymous data. So like overall trends, you can see what people are reading, popular topics, engagement levels. Advertisers get a good overview of the audience.
So enterprise takes it up a notch.
You got it. Enterprise unlocks what we call identified analytics. This means you can actually use data from your logged-in users. You get a much clearer picture of what each person likes.
So if I'm a travel magazine using enterprise, I could see that someone's reading about luxury cruises and they've even booked trips through my site.
Exactly. That level of detail is what you get with identified analytics. And with that info, you can make things super personalized. Instead of generic cruise ads, you offer deals on trips that match their history and interests.
Incredible. We're not talking demographics anymore. We're talking about knowing individual readers.
Yeah.
Almost like a personal shopper, but for content and ads.
Great analogy. And this data is gold for advertisers. They can tailor their messages to specific groups, make them much more effective.
But with all this data, how do we make sure it's used responsibly? Any concerns about privacy here?
That's essential, of course. Transparency and user consent are key. Media companies have to be clear about what they collect, how they use it, give users control over their settings.
It sounds like building trust with readers is more important than ever.
Absolutely. Data can be great for positive experiences, but it has to be ethical, respecting everyone's privacy.
Okay, so Samhub helps with reporting, shows the value of the audience, but what about keeping those readers engaged? It's a tough world out there. Every media company is fighting for attention, right? Especially against social media.
That's where the editorial personalization add-on comes in. This isn't just about advertising anymore. It's about using data to improve what the reader experiences, making the whole digital space feel customized for them.
I like the sound of that. How does this personalization work in real life?
Imagine you're a news junkie. You always check a certain site for updates. If they use Samhub's tool, they can look at what you've read before, your favorite topics, even where you are. So instead of a random news feed, you get articles chosen just for you.
Like a personal news curator who knows my taste better than I do. Does this work for anyone who visits, even if they don't log in?
Depends on what the media company chooses. The professional plan works with their CMS, their content system, so they can use data to highlight trending articles for different groups of readers.
So even if I'm not logged in, I still get a somewhat tailored experience based on what people like me are reading overall.
Exactly. But the truly personalized stuff, that's with the enterprise plan.
Okay, tell me more about Enterprise. What's the special sauce there?
With Enterprise, you get a full data feed from Samhub. It gives personalized suggestions to each user, logged in or not, like a recommendation engine, like Netflix, but for news. You visit a site, and bam, you see articles that match you perfectly.
That's wild. But how do they know if I'm not logged in? Sounds like magic.
No magic, just really smart tech. They use cookies, browsing history, all sorts of data points to build a profile for each user, even if they haven't told the site who they are.
That's impressive, and maybe a tiny bit scary. But I get how important this is for media companies, to keep people coming back.
Exactly. The better the experience, the more they'll come back. It makes the site sticky.
Okay, so we've got reporting, we've got content, but there's one more piece I'm really interested in, the partnership program. It feels like that's where the magic happens, where data really builds those relationships with advertisers.
You're spot on. This isn't about simply buying and selling ad space. It changes how media companies and advertisers work together.
So how does it work in practice? What does this partnership program actually look like?
Imagine you're a media company, and thanks to Samhub, you really know your audience. You're not just selling ad impressions, you're inviting advertisers to work with you.
Okay, so I'm picturing myself in a meeting with a big brand, and I've got all this data showing them what their ideal customer wants, their secret desires. What happens next?
You share those insights, show them exactly who their target is, what they care about, how they use your platform, and then you work together to build campaigns that really resonate with those readers. Everyone wins, the advertiser and your media company.
So it's a real partnership, sharing data, sharing knowledge.
That's it. It's not just a transaction, it's a true partnership. Media companies become like consultants, helping advertisers understand their customers and ultimately get better results from their campaigns.
I can see how that's a game changer. But what are the features that make this program work? What tools does it offer?
One key thing is dedicated workspaces for advertisers within Samhub. They get a secure space to see data, plan campaigns, track results.
So it's like giving them a glimpse into your world, showing them the power of your data firsthand.
Exactly. And there's a marketplace where media companies can show off their audience, their data capabilities. It's like a matchmaking service, helping them find the perfect advertising partners.
Brilliant. Can media companies make this platform their own so it feels like part of their brand?
Absolutely. There's a white label option. They can customize the look and feel so it matches their brand perfectly. It's seamless for advertisers and positions the media company as a really sophisticated digital partner.
Okay, so everyone wins with this program. Advertisers get better results, media companies become strategic advisors, all thanks to the power of data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it could even be a win for readers. If advertisers can target better, maybe we'll see fewer irrelevant ads online.
Now that would be a welcome change. Okay, so we've covered these individual tools, these add-ons from Samhub, but I feel like there's a bigger story here, right? It's not just separate tools, it's how they all work together to create something bigger.
You're absolutely right. We're just scratching the surface of what Samhub is trying to do. The real power is in how these parts combine to make a truly data-driven media world.
Okay, let's explore that bigger picture in part two. What does this vision look like, and how does it change things for media companies and their readers? Stay with us. Welcome back. Before the break, we were digging into these individual tools from Samhub, the reporting, the personalization, the partnerships. Now let's zoom out a bit, see the bigger picture. What happens when you combine all these things?
That's where we see Samhub's real goal, I think. A fully data-driven media company. Not just using data here and there, but making it part of every choice, every action.
Okay, help me visualize this. If I'm a media company and I'm all in on Samhub, what's different? What's my day like compared to how it used to be?
Well, first off, your relationship with advertisers is totally different. Remember that partnership program? You can use that to really get a brand's goals. Then you find the perfect part of your audience to match using Samhub's data.
So it's not selling ads anymore, it's like matchmaking. I find the readers who are actually going to love this brand's message.
You got it. And it goes even further. Let's say this advertiser, they're all about eco-friendly travel. Now you've got this amazing data. You know which readers care about sustainability. You know their travel habits, even how much money they make.
Okay, my mind is kind of blown here. So I use this to build a targeted ad campaign, sure. But could I also use it to help my editorial team?
See, that's the beauty of this whole ecosystem idea. Editorial isn't off doing their thing, and sales doing theirs. Data connects them. Your editorial team could create a whole series about sustainable travel, knowing exactly what will work for this audience.
So it's a win-win. Readers get content they actually want, the advertiser gets engaged customers, and my media company looks awesome connecting the two.
That's the cycle Samhub wants to create. And because it's all based on data, you can constantly measure and improve.
Okay, let's get real for a sec. I'm that media executive listening to this, totally sold on Samhub. What are the real tangible benefits? What changes will I see?
Well, first off, you'll probably see a lot more advertising money coming in. You're not selling generic spots anymore. You're selling access to a specific valuable group of people. Advertisers will pay more for that.
So higher profits, everyone's happy. But it can't just be about the money, right? There's got to be more.
Of course. You'll also see your readers getting more engaged. Personalized content keeps them on your site longer, they explore more, they come back. You're basically competing with social media, but with high-quality, tailored stuff.
It's like we said before, it's all about that sticky experience. And the more my readers are engaged, the more data I get, which makes the personalization even better. It's like a, a positive feedback loop.
Exactly. And all this data helps you in other ways, too. Figuring out what content you're missing, what formats work best, even making special subscription offers for certain types of readers.
It's like having a crystal ball, showing you what your readers want before they even know it. But with all this talk of data and algorithms, aren't we losing something human? Will all media just become these perfectly targeted but kind of generic streams of content?
That's a worry for sure.
Right.
And that's why the best media companies will find the right balance. Data should help us, not control us. Human editors and creators still matter. They make sure the content is good, insightful, and that it reflects the company's own voice.
So it's not about replacing humans, it's about giving them superpowers with data.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Finding that sweet spot between the art and the science. Using data to guide us, but never forgetting what makes media connect with people on a human level.
That makes a lot of sense. We've talked about the good stuff for media companies. But what about the downsides? Any risks or challenges to think about?
Well, like with any powerful tool, there's always the chance of misuse or unintended consequences. One concern is that by focusing too much on data, companies might forget their real purpose,
Yeah.
informing the public, sparking debate, holding people accountable.
So they might start putting out clickbait headlines, sensational stuff, just because the data says it works.
That's the danger. It's so important for media companies to keep their integrity, not let algorithms run the show completely.
It's like that saying, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Right. Data should be a force for good, not just a way to get ahead.
Okay, so we've seen the potential good and the potential bad of Samhub's approach. A lot to think about.
Definitely is. And it brings up some big questions about the future of media. How do we balance the power of data with the need for creativity for ethics?
Big questions indeed. And we still need to talk about the people on the other side of the screen, right? The readers themselves. How will all this data stuff shape their experience online in the years to come? Well, when we come back for the final part of this deep dive, we'll explore those questions and talk about what it all means for you, the media consumer. Stay tuned. Okay, we're back for the last part of our Samhub deep dive. We've seen how it's shaking things up for media companies, but now let's talk about you, the reader, the person scrolling through articles, seeing ads every day. How does all this data stuff actually affect your experience?
That's the big question, right? All this tech is cool, but it comes down to how it impacts the everyday user. Let's start with something we all see, those content recommendations. If a website's using Samhub, you'll notice a difference in what they suggest.
So instead of just the latest headlines or what's popular, I'm getting stuff picked for free, kind of like how Spotify learns your music taste.
Exactly. And it's not just articles. Think about newsletters that actually interest you, event suggestions based on what you've done before. Maybe you always read about gadgets. Suddenly, you're getting invites to local tech events.
Okay, that's kind of neat, but also kind of creepy. How much are they tracking me? Is this Big Brother stuff?
That's where transparency comes in and control. Good media companies, they'll be upfront about what data they use. You'll have options, privacy settings. You can see what they're collecting, even opt out of some personalization.
So it's not like they're forcing it on me. I have some say in how much this tech affects what I see.
That's right. It should be working with you, not manipulating you. Now let's flip it around and talk about advertising. We all see ads online, but what happens when Samhub's data gets involved there?
Part of me is hoping it means fewer of those totally random ads, like, do they even know me? Like, if advertisers can target people who actually care, that's got to be better for everyone, right?
Yeah. That's the ideal outcome. Yeah. And it makes sense. Imagine seeing ads for things you're actually interested in, stuff you need, maybe even things that match your values.
Less clutter, more relevant stuff. I like it.
Okay.
But are there any downsides to this super targeted approach? What if these algorithms know us better than we know ourselves?
There's the risk of what some people call filter bubbles. If we only see stuff that agrees with us, that fits our existing interests, We might close ourselves off to new ideas, different perspectives.
So instead of broadening my horizons, I'm stuck in an echo chamber. Not good.
It's a valid concern. Media companies and the tech folks, they've got to be careful. It's not just about getting more clicks or more money. It's about creating a healthy information environment.
Okay, so it's not all good or all bad. There's potential on both sides, and it depends on how these tools are used and how much control we have as users.
Exactly. And it brings up an even bigger question. What is media supposed to do in this data-driven world? Is it just about personalized content and really specific ads?
hmm
Or is there something more, like informing people, educating them, even challenging them?
We've always thought of media as like a vital part of society, keeping those in power in check, starting conversations, all that. But does that still hold true when algorithms are controlling what we see?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's tough to answer. But I think the media companies that will succeed are the ones who figure out how to use data responsibly, ethically, and in a way that benefits everyone.
So it's not just about profits, it's about using data to make a better world, a more informed world, a fairer world.
That's the idea. And
Yeah.
we have a role to play, too, as readers, as consumers. Pay attention to how your data is being used, ask questions, adjust your settings, look for diverse viewpoints.
Be an active participant, not just letting things happen to you.
That's it. Remember, data is just a tool. It's up to all of us to decide how we use it, what
Right.
kind of future we build with it.
That's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Samhub and the whole world of data-driven media. We'll be back soon with another look at the tech shaping our lives. Until then, stay curious.